Tired of being broke, you need to flip or buy and hold. Clocking in and out, your 9 to 5 is getting old. JD Boom and AC Cash, they known to get the bag. You can make your own schedule, know you liking that. Time to take the next step, take your money, invest. Know you just got that check, go sign up with J-Tech. Yeah.
Hi, I'm AC Cash, and this is
Jay the Technician.
and this is
JD.
Boom. And we're here on behalf of Pivot Point Investors, where we help the small investor grow his or her nest egg into 10s, 20s, 100s, thousands, and millions. We're covering it.
That's right.
We're covering how to grow this money. You know, people are getting them stimulus checks.
Absolutely.
They're getting refund checks.
That's right.
They're getting all kinds of extra. They're getting the little child care, the baby stuff.
Man.
They're getting money is just flowing into these people.
Yeah.
And they're investing in stocks. They're investing in real
Crypto.
estate.
Crypto.
They're investing in crypto. But at some point, man, that musical chairs is going around. The music's playing. But then when the music stops, it's time to pull the money off
That's
the
right.
table.
You got to.
So when is
Put it
it
in your
time to pull the money off the table and put it in your pocket? We're going to cover that today.
That's right.
So, guys, which one you want to cover? Stocks, real estate, or crypto? Which one's on your mind?
Well, I mean, why can't we cover all of them?
Cover all of them.
But let's start with the hottest thing. The hottest thing right now is crypto, man.
Crypto.
So
man.
you know, let's talk about some crypto.
Okay,
you know.
okay. Which one? Let's cover some Bitcoin. Bitcoin was at a high of what recently?
$63,844.
63,000.
You
Those are big
Why didn't
numbers.
you let me finish the pennies?
Oh,
32 cents.
Oh, that's a
Gee,
big
let me finish the
word.
pennies.
Oh,
That
word.
man, every dollar counts.
There
Okay,
you go.
You
so we were at
gonna
the
make sure
high.
you get all them pennies.
We were at the high, and the numbers have been incredible. But what comes up most of the time has to
Won't
come
come
down.
down.
And so at 63, we had to ask ourselves, just the same way you should ask yourself, you know, it's going up, but at what point do we have in our minds it's time to pull the chips off the table?
That's right.
You know, and so at 63, was it time to pull the chips off the table?
Yeah, it was time, but
Okay.
not just because of the number. It
Right.
was an event. You know,
That's right.
now cryptos have finally become mainstream. All the naysayers, people that both myself and JD Boom has looked up to, has had to admit, man, the
Oh,
crypto
man.
world is solid.
Warren
Yeah,
Buffett,
come
Charlie Munger, like all of them. I listened to him for years. I used to tell this man he was crazy
Yes,
back
he
in the
did.
day,
Yes, he did.
2017. I'm like,
He did.
Cash, get out of here with that crypto mess, man.
Yes, he
Coin
did.
wallets and all this stuff.
Yes,
and so
he did.
I ate my crow.
He gonna
I
run us over with
didn't
this
start
one.
investing in crypto until 2019.
Still going.
So I'm at being a big man and admitting I was wrong.
Okay.
But now I'm on the train.
That's all right.
Solid.
But at 63, we know it's come a long
Oh,
way.
No, it came beyond a long way, but the real pivotal moment was Coinbase. That was a very small company that really grew into a mega behemoth where people can easily go on there and actually purchase these cryptocurrencies, actually own them physically in their own digital wallets.
Right.
And they were releasing their IPO, or we know as initial public offering,
Okay.
so that we ourselves as the small individuals can get in, not just in the crypto world, but in the world of the crypto brokers,
That's
because
right.
they are a major broker.
And them coming into the stock exchange made it more mainstream. Because
Yes.
you could go on Coinbase, buy all these little cryptocurrencies. But now with an IPO, it's like they're ringing the bell saying, "Hey, we've arrived.
Yeah.
Come on board."
It's been major. I mean, it's been shocking both to myself and Jay. We're actually seeing so many small platforms almost every day are now adding
It's
all
a
the
new platform,
Bitcoins.
absolutely.
They're almost chasing it now. They're like,
Yeah.
oh man, if they're going IPO, we got to get in on
That's
this because
right.
everyone wants to get their hands on your money.
But
Okay.
but this is one thing though to think about, guys, is that with the Coinbase play, some people could just say, hey, I don't want to buy the actual coins, I'll buy the stock,
Okay.
which represents and holds and hosts those coins. The biggest stock or Bitcoin crypto poster of those coins, I just buy that
That's right.
and I just get it that way.
That's right. And so the two top players in that, you're going to say, hey, Bitcoin is the top coin,
Right.
but then you're going to say Coinbase is the top exchange to buy the coins.
Absolutely.
And so when they go for a public offering, now they're out there in the world, it's like, okay, this is the most hoopla we can get. Let's pull some of this money off the table.
That's
Most
right.
definitely, because
Okay.
you saw such a major rise. Bitcoin, of course, is a major leader in crypto. So when we saw Bitcoin's rise, it took everybody up. But that was definitely a moment, because in the average market over the last 50 years, usually when IPOs are released, the very next day is a sell-off. So when you've seen
Hey,
that
Jack,
IPO,
they got to go into your courses to get on that, those triggers, man.
You
gotta-
those
you
signals,
gotta-
those
you gotta-
buy and sell.
it was-
You're
there was
giving
a-
that
yeah,
real
it was-
good
it was
stuff,
definitely
man. You
a
can't
huge-
give them the recipe.
Well,
They
for,
say,
Bit, well,
come on.
for Bitcoin, it was definitely a big flashing red sign.
Right.
Take your money. It was great.
Right.
And wait for another position.
Okay, and that doesn't mean we won't get back into crypto or particularly Bitcoin. It just means at that point it was at all-time high. Let's come down. Let's let the dust settle, and then we'll reevaluate in order to go back in. But
Right.
that's Bitcoin. You know, there's a lot of other things happening. People
Yeah.
are still investing. Things are happening. So there's been the pandemic. People been in the house. What have they been spending their money on, and what stocks have been rolling because of the pandemic during this time?
Well, one is Facebook.
Facebook.
You
Okay.
know, like that. Our generations. You know, I can't say that for my kids' generations, right?
Yeah,
So they like
they're
Snap
another
and all
thing
that
now.
other stuff, right? I don't even know all the other stuff that's out there,
I
right?
got you, I
But
got you.
Facebook, you know, typically you, let's say 28 or older, you know, like this. You connect with classmates, old friends, you know, people stay connected. And when we couldn't go outside, that was the way a lot of people, you know, and many people, you know, stay connected with the outside world. So
Okay. So that means it was at a high, and then we started getting these vaccines and arms. So that meant it was time to pull the
pull
chips
back.
off the
That's
table.
right. That's
Hey,
right.
I know you guys had that remote. I know y'all watching all these new videos, shows, the movies coming out.
Yeah.
That who was profiting on that?
and Netflix.
Netflix.
number
Okay.
one, yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
Netflix. It was at an all-time high,
Absolutely.
and now we would say it's
Oh,
time to.
They took a $57 drop today.
Okay.
It's down. That's a, you know, I want to say it's down $100.
Wow. Okay.
You know, over this week, and we're just Wednesday, so
Mhm,
that's a pretty significant drop.
Right, and that doesn't mean we don't reevaluate,
No.
reassess, rack it back up, and get back in the
Yeah.
game. But you have to see the signals that say we had a good run. Let's pull those chips off the table.
Well, it was mixed signals with Netflix specifically because they had very strong revenue. So revenue was good, right? They
Right.
made money. The
Right.
problem was the subscriber base was only 4 million for the quarter.
Okay.
And so they anticipated, you know, upwards of 6 million.
Okay.
And so when you're talking about that big of a, you know, some analysts said 6 million, some said 8 million. That's a range. But you have 4.
Okay,
That's
at the bottom
a
of
big
that scale.
difference.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that means let's pull it back.
Yeah.
Hey, I remember we sent all our employees home, and it was time to do all this remote work. Everybody's at home, and what were we using during that time? Zoom. So that meant, like everybody else, everybody was zooming. We made that into a verb.
That's
during the
right.
pandemic.
That's what we did.
Zooming.
We did.
And so that means it was at the high. So what happens now?
Hey, everybody's going back to the office.
So we need to pull those chips back off the table.
But
With Zoom.
we should have pulled back 2 months ago, to be honest, because
Yeah,
we've
yeah.
been in the reopen phase. Because how many, half of Americans are vaccinated,
Yeah.
or at least got one?
Yeah, truly, people should have pulled out of Zoom right at around January.
Okay.
January was really the more adequate time, because once they had announced that first shot was in and ball started rolling,
That was the time, right?
time to let that go.
Okay, and the real estate high is still rising. So we're not saying pull those chips off the table.
No.
We're still saying press the gas a little bit. Keep buying. Don't overbuy. This is
But
never a good time to overbuy.
but I went and looked. You know what I'm saying? AC Cash.
Right.
The
What you
market's
look at.
on fire. I'm looking
Right.
at these houses, the
Right.
numbers. I don't even understand them.
Okay.
I'm trying to buy one.
Right.
By the time I place a bid on it, I already heard I was outbid.
That's
and
right.
I just left from the house. I ain't even made it home yet. And they
Mhm.
telling me somebody outbid me 20, 30 bidders. And I'm like, but
Well,
are they
see,
don't they
that's
think
the
these
thing.
prices are too high?
It depends on how you're getting into a house. If you look at on Realtor.com, if you're looking on Zillow, if you're just looking to buy a house and you're out there in the retail market just looking, the prices will be high. because they do have multiple offers above asking price. That's not a good time to jump in the water.
So then, okay, so then let me ask you this. If I was looking to spend $250,000, what should I actually be looking at? You see, back then I thought if I was looking for a house for $250, I can buy one at $250, but by the time I go to $250, it goes to $280, $290. I can't do it.
So I'll tell you, it's always a good time to buy low. But how do you buy it low? The way to get low is to be able to buy it either in a foreclosure, either a REO, bank owned, the banks took it back, or you're buying something to fix up. Now, it's hard, we as three guys are gonna tell you, it's hard to get a woman to buy an ugly house.
That's right. They don't want to do it.
They don't want to buy an ugly house.
They can't see the vision.
That's right.
Yeah.
Don't make it hard when you go home. They can't see the vision.
No, y'all can see all the other visions.
Oh, right.
Great
Just
things.
not that one,
Just not that one.
I'm trying to get you in the house, man.
We're being honest, but I'm supposed to say that stuff. I'm a single one, man.
He can get the fire.
So you wanna buy an ugly house that you can put some money into and fix, so that you can get it still under the $250. You put your little sweat equity, your little bit of fix up handiwork into it. You don't have to do it physically with your own hands, but get your guys to do it. And then you're in it below market. You bought it during the frenzy still, but you didn't pay premium like all these other people who just going online, MLS, and just buying a house at too expensive a price.
But I heard one of these famous people, and I'm not giving them no credit.
That's right.
They came on and said, well, if you want a house for $250, you really need to look for a house for $200, so that you have the room to go into a bidding war.
But that's if you're gonna stay retail though. That's what cash is saying.
We're still talking, because it's still a retail situation. All you're doing is fooling yourself. That's saying you want some $100 shoes, but you're gonna look at the 75. Still end up at the $100. It's still you bought $100 shoes.
Right.
A $250 house, you can't convince that wife of yours that, oh, we'll look for $150 and then we'll buy the $250. That's what I really wanted, because the $150 doesn't look like the $250
Absolutely not.
in most ladies' eyes, and even guys who are looking for a property. So it's just about getting in there smart in the areas. Otherwise, sit your chips to the side if you're not willing to do any fix up, if you're not looking on these secondary markets to buy properties, and just wait.
Right. Or you could, like, the secondary market could be like distressed property. People get divorced all the time. That's the nasty side of real estate, right? Like people die, right?
People die every day.
Today
people dying who never died before.
Yeah,
they did.
I don't know if we heard that before, but
No, they did today.
That's right. So, but the point is, you can find them, but you just have to look.
No, you got to make it. It's your job.
Yeah.
Pretty much for a primary residence. Anytime I'm looking 6 month time span. Because 6 months. Because if you playing that, I'm ready, and then you're trying to go to buy, it might be out of season. People might not be putting the properties on the market at that time, and here you're in a desperate situation. You usually, what happens to desperate people, they do desperate things, and you don't want to have to live with the person who bought the house while you were in desperation. That's gonna be a bad household. We don't want
during
that.
the hot part of the season, because this is where everybody's trying to buy.
Yes,
so,
they are.
You might say, hey, let me wait the 6 months to get to the backside.
That's right.
And then I may get a better deal.
So, season, that's still timing. That's talking about when to jump in, when to jump out.
That's right.
So if we knew some negative things, the times where we should just pull your money out of certain cryptocurrencies, stocks, even real estate. What's been doing well? What is it time to get into? Because we got these vaccines in these arms. Now things are opening up. People are traveling. I think I'm leaving this weekend, but don't tell nobody. What's doing well? What should we be getting into? Real estate, stock.
Well, I'll say stocks.
Okay.
That you can consider right now, and it kind of goes hand in hand with housing.
Right.
One of them is Floor and Decor, FND.
FND.
FND, right? Gotcha. So they make all things floors, but you can buy all types of things there.
Right.
For home remodeling, beautification, right? Building, lumber, everything. So same thing as Lowe's.
Lowe's,
but then Jay Tex, he was talking about Home Depot. So it's all in that genre.
Okay.
Now, it's interesting though, while those stocks have been doing great, is one thing to consider with Home Depot. You know, where you kind of get into a risk, a political risk situation that none of those shareholders expected to come. You know, with a lot of clergy wanting to boycott Home Depot. So that's something that you got to consider before you get into that. Is that something you want to even worry about? Even though it's a very strong and solid company, there were members of the in the great state of Georgia that felt like they had a really weak response to what they considered to be voter suppression. And so because of that, they want to boycott Home Depot. And so our members get all about risk.
They get that information.
So, but we want to at least temper and like at least put that disclaimer just to say, hey, this is something to consider, or why you need to be with us with our courses, one of the members, because we give you all that all the time.
Gotcha. I'm following that. So that's that housing market. We're pushing that. When we're talking about, there's got to be other areas that are doing a little bit better.
Well, I mean, yesterday, I'm holding the right hand because this is usually how I feel. So
Okay, all right.
It was a wonderful day yesterday.
You 420? What's that mean?
Man.
Nobody don't 420.
No.
And so
that's when you make sure that your eyes stay in the back of your eyelids. You know,
So
as long as
I don't know what y'all talking about.
I ain't really
All I know is it was April 20th. And so on April 20th, there's an annual event.
Did you feel lightheaded? Did you feel like
I did not, sir. I did not.
Did you meet?
He didn't either.
You didn't meet Jesus' second coming?
No, sir. So what I know is at 420, that annual event, there's people that will partake in a new industry, the cannabis industry, and they're making investments. And so obviously, and not to coin a crazy phrase, but things will be at a high on those types of days, 420. And so
it was high.
Okay.
Very appropriate.
very
Very appropriate.
Okay.
No,
And
it's
so
not.
there's stocks that particularly did well during that time. It's just like a celebration. People are going to wear green during St. Patrick's Day.
That's right.
And so on 420 days, those stocks will do what?
They will go up.
They will get high.
There we go. See,
I was going-
Hey, guy, you got to give them the punch.
Well, I mean, it was up.
Okay. It was up.
Okay.
Okay, and so those are signals, and that's why subscribers to us,
That's
the
right.
Point Investors, we send out that information to let you know, hey, it's a high tide day, guys. You know, it's one of those days, and
That's right.
those are just signals, and they're all around, they're happening. But sometimes you got to ride with people who particularly specialize in those areas, and that's what we do with Pivot Point Investors.
That's right.
So now, I remember we talked about some things, some sectors that were growing, and we talked about chip manufacturers, chip being computer chips, and how there was a big shortage. Now, when there's shortages, certain things happen in markets during shortages.
That's right.
Any particular chip maker we need to follow up on in this kind of time? We're in April.
Well, right now, I guess one of the major players is going to be AMD.
AMD, okay.
Advanced micro devices.
All right.
AMD right now is sitting around a decent level, around the $80 range.
Okay.
I am in disagreement with Mr. JD Boom. We gonna have two different takes on this.
All right.
I believe that the earnings will be okay, but due to the sentiment of worry that the following quarters are not going to be able to sustain this stock, I just don't see it propelling to those higher levels that they're looking for, which is around the $100 range.
Okay.
My second reason of maintaining that is for one of our favorite companies, Apple. They just released their Super Apple show yesterday, showing their whole line of products. But do you know what their main focus was? To show that they ain't touching no more Intel or AMD processors. None. They are using their own, they call it the M1. So as you're seeing these companies retract themselves away from these major players, with the shortage, I just don't see this company has much more. So my rating right now on it is a hold. I would not recommend it.
And before JD jumps back on that, I'm going to say, let's say AMD. And so where are those main chip manufacturers manufacturing? Taiwan. And we are trying to move away from Taiwanese manufactured products.
Yes.
And so Apple is making theirs where?
Here.
In the USA.
That's right.
So we're trying to be more self-sufficient
That's a
in
big
this
deal.
country, get away from those exports, because that holds us hostage as a country. And so those are things to consider. And when you look at these sectors and the movements and all of that, and so JD Boom had a little slight rebuttal regarding these chips.
This is what I'll say with AMD. AMD, the focus is going to be Q1 of this year. So let's just January, February, March.
Okay.
It's for this year. It still had very strong sales for Xbox gaming systems, the Xbox Series X gaming system, as well as the PlayStation 5 gaming system. And so the AMD chips are in all three of those gaming consoles. And that's just 3 consoles that they provide chips for. They provide chips for other very popular products.
So that's still going to be a player.
Absolutely. Regardless of losing Apple, because they make their own processor for their own computers.
And so is it possible both boats will rise with the high tide?
Well, what I'm saying is it's more timing, right? So I'm saying they release earnings April 27th, so next week. And I'm saying purchasing it now, this week at $80, you have a very good chance it could go to 90 to 100 within around the time of earnings. It'll probably peak the week of earnings going into the 1st of May, and then you
might have to.
So I'm giving a very short window. Is the difference. I'm not saying marry it and be stuck. I'm saying this could be a real.
I got you.
Good swing trading.
So as like he was stating, he's seeing the potential in the short term. I still feel like in the short term, I want to wait and see how the buyer sentiment takes to the earnings. Will they actually take it? If he's right, then yeah, you would have made money. JTech system, I just feel right now that it's at a really, really great price. I just don't see it catapulting anywhere without really explosive earnings, meaning that they're going to have to go beyond exceeding expectations. It can't just be what we're expecting. It's just, I don't see it.
He sounds like he's still yesterday in
Hey, I know, man. He's like,
life is good, man. Life is good, man.
Real talk.
I mean, it was good. Dogecoin was great yesterday.
That's good.
Great day.
I think we filled them up. I think that's a lot of information.
We did give them a lot.
So the general theme is understanding that investing is good. When to push the chips on the table is important, but also as important is when to pull the chips off the table. And so you want to get people and institutions that give you information to give you those signals, because one person doesn't know it all.
That's right.
So you want to grab that from reputable sources. So
Absolutely.
Wherever you get your information from, get correct information.
That's key.
Okay. So we talked about Netflix. We said, hey, they lost subscribers. We talked about Zoom, folks going back to work, so we don't have to sit there and be dressed at the top and nude at the bottom, or however you go.
A lot of people miss that free moment. Just
ride
in the wind.
We talked about Bitcoin. They hit how much specific dollars did Bitcoin hit, sir?
$63,844.
32 cents.
Please don't forget the 32
we got all of that. We talked about Dogecoin. That jumped up, and it was time to pull back. But we stay watching. We're still ready. We're always ready to jump back in. Talked about Disney. The parks are opening up.
Absolutely.
Talked about Apple, AMD. Okay, all that good stuff, and then Lowe's and how it relates to the real estate sector.
Absolutely.
So we're talking when to jump in, when to jump out. Man, y'all giving them too much, man. Y'all stop.
And imagine we only gave them that much.
I know.
Like if they got our courses and they saw how we go in, it's a whole science to this thing.
If they see the technician's numbers, they gonna know JD's wrong anyway. They can be like, why did I read this anyway?
I love it, man. I love
this guy. Hey guys, whatever you do, stay in the game, stay engaged, get your information. But for whatever you do, get correct information.
That's right.
Okay? We're good, guys?
We're good, man.
Hey, on behalf of me, AC Cash, this is
Jay the Technician.
And this is
JD.
And we're here on behalf of Pivot Point Investors, letting you know when to pull the chips off the table and put it in your pocket.
There we go.
Stay well.